chance to become liberated. But it's like every strong woman that comes along in his life just like completely dominates his mentality to the point where he forgets what his business is. He forgets what he's here to do. You know, he loses it.
He better become a monk then.
What's that?
He should become a monk.
He should. You're right. That would help him. Yeah. Keep him out of trouble. Keep him out of danger. Because it's his weakness.
Yeah.
You know, it is very. The way it always works, though, is that a person is. They themselves are the last one to understand what their weakness is. So he's like, you know, oh, women are very nice.
It'd be very hard for him
it
to
would
choose amongst life.
It would be,
So
yeah, very hard. He admires women. He thinks they're very strong. Right? Well, and compared to him, they are. You know. So from his point of view, it's like that would deprive him of the whole source of strength, and he would have to draw a line in his life that he's just not prepared to do. You know. So I mean, actually, I think it's a good idea for everybody to live as a monk for some time, just to have that experience and to gain the benefits that you can get from that kind of life, that discipline and the austerity. But of course, you know, nobody listens to me. But if you have this experience, then you can understand where your weak points are. You know. Or another person, let me think of another example of somebody has moksha karaka, I can't use it. Oh God, yeah. There's a lady that we know that has 2 moksha karakas in her chart. And she understands the whole theory and everything. She's not stupid, she's intelligent. But every time we like get around to, okay, this is actually what you have to do to gain liberation, you know, it's like she runs into a wall. She can't go there. It's like her intelligence stops working, and she's just like, whip.
She lacks the discipline?
It's not so much that she lacks the discipline. It's that, well, I'm not sure what it is in her case. There's no clear indication in her chart that something is stopping her intelligence. Oh yeah. That's right. We found out something new. We found that there's something called temporary malefics.
What's that?
Well, a planet can either be benefic or malefic, right, depending on its nature. And there's 2 kinds. There's natural malefics and benefics, and there's temporary malefics and benefics based on the planet's position in a chart. There are 3 houses called Dushtana houses. It means difficult houses. The 6th, the 8th, and the 12th. So if the planet becomes the lord of those houses, even if it's a benefic planet, it can become malefic. So I think it was that one of the planets that was supposed to be benefic, actually in her chart was a malefic, a temporary malefic, and that was like blocking her from accessing the spiritual intelligence that she needs to move ahead. So it's like she suffers from depression. This is how we got to know her, because we did a program for people with depression, or Uddhava did. And so she came to the program, and she was following, you know, a vegetarian diet and chanting and reading Bhagavad Gita and all that. And she was even getting the benefits from it. And she was going, yeah, this really works. This is great. But I can't do it. Oh, wait a minute. You're suffering from depression. You're like, you know, suicidal half the time. You can tell that these methods work, but you can't do it. No, I can't do it. It's not possible. Well, you know, is it you don't like it, or you don't understand it? Or, oh, no, that's not the problem at all. It's just fine. I just can't do it. Oh, you know, why? I don't know. I just can't. That was like the end of the conversation. You know? And we even brought her over. We fed her prasadam until she could barely walk, you know, and then had this long, intense kirtan, you know, and she's like, oh yeah, I feel great, but I can't do it. So I was like, okay, we get the message. It's like there's just something stopping her intelligence. It was really weird.
Will that planet move out of, and so she can do it later on?
I don't think so.
Oh.
It might, or I don't know. It might be, it might be that she's in some funky dasha period, and when the period changes, then maybe that'll change. I don't know. I can hope, because I'd really like to see her recover from her depression and make some spiritual advancement.
Not to pry on her personal, like what it was, but was it something that you believe she wasn't willing to do because she built her life around that act?
I don't know. Well, why do people become addicted to depression? Our analysis indicates that depression is an addiction. It's a behavioral addiction, right? Just like people become addicted to substances, they also become addicted to behaviors. So if a person has a problem with depression, what are they getting from that? Like an alcoholic always uses their alcohol to get something that they think is desirable. It might be sympathy, it might be attention, even if it's negative attention, or, who knows. I don't know what her personal life is. I don't know her situation.
Kind of like a bully syndrome, in a sense?
What's that?
Like if they can't get good attention, any attention is better than no attention?
Right.
Okay.
She might be doing something like that. I mean, it's hard to tell because I don't know. You'd have to observe her in her personal life, in her normal circumstances. And we never seen her in her normal circumstances. Right. We only see her at meetings or, if she comes over to the house or something like that. So it's hard to say how she's using her depression. But apparently she's so attached to her depression that even if she knows how to stop it, it's like she can't go there.
Right, so it's a lifestyle or something that she's been doing so long she doesn't know how to function without it?
It might be some kind of crutch like that. Some way of not dealing with stuff that she's uncomfortable with or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Human behavior is so complicated, all we can do is give people good advice. And, we call it triage.
I know triage.
Yeah, triage I don't know if you all know, in medical circles, it's when you have a limited amount of resources and a lot of victims, and you have to decide who you're going to treat. And the basic principle of triage is that the first people that you treat are the ones who can benefit the most and who will respond the best to your treatment, like making the best use of the facilities and resources that you've got. So in our case, Uddhava and I were two people, and we had, 13 million people in our preaching field in Mexico City. So obviously we can't personally deal with all of them when we have to decide who are we going to spend our time on. We have a very limited amount of time, especially Uddhava is working, more than full-time, very responsible positions. So we had to decide. And basically the people who made the cut were the people who responded to what we were giving them. The people who couldn't respond or didn't want to respond or didn't want to value what we were giving them, it's like they don't rate it. We don't give them any time. Maybe if we spent more time and pounded on them, for a while, they would eventually make some progress. But it's like we don't have the time to waste because we got all these people over here that do respond. So we want to concentrate on them. It's just like when I came up here. Why did I come to Randy? Why did I stay at Neville's? Why didn't I? There's so many other people I could have visited. Or why did I go to those particular places? It's because they're responding. There's a reciprocation there. There's an understanding. So I felt like, I won't be wasting my time if I go to these places.
Right.
I mean, I could get a place to stay, in a whole bunch of different places, but these particular people are responding. They're more than just warm bodies. They're really engaged, really involved, and we want that. So how do we? Oh, really? Huh. How do we determine who to work with? It's by the people who have. We want to be able to look at somebody's chart and determine in advance, if possible. If we work with this person, are they going to be able to attain liberation in this life? That's our goal. We want to make a core team of people who are in a liberated state of consciousness and expand from there. Even if I only have 1 or 2 people, you know, who are in that state, I'll consider that a success for my whole life. Because Prabhupada, my guru, when he left this planet, none of his disciples were liberated.
Really?
Yep. He himself said so. There is no one qualified to succeed me, he said, at the time he left. It took me another 25 years after he left the planet. And as far as I know, I'm the first one. So, you know, if we can set up this retreat, and Uddhava and some other devotees, Florian and some other people